Bonjour, welcome to the Notorious D.I.D. I am Valpre. This is part 2 of our Veterans Day Remembrance Special. Happy Veterans Day, everyone. Thank you for those who have served and are serving. Today, this is going to be about someone that was very, very special to us, that was a veteran of World War II. It would probably be better had one of the others been able to do it. However, I have a direct link with World War II, and maybe it was meant to be for me to say. His name was Bert E. Smith. That was our grandfather. He didn't really have a middle initial until he was drafted into the military. The funny story is he never had a middle name. A lot of times back in the day they didn't give you a middle name, but he had to have an initial. So he used an E, and the E was because he liked Elvis Presley. Later on, he would tell that story constantly. He was drafted into the military, into the cavalry. Yes, that's right. That's those who ride the ponies and do their military on top of a horse, which was also interesting because he didn't much like horses. With horses. So he was born July 25th, 1925. And he was drafted into the army. He would serve as a private, but he was accomplished, and even though it was a heavy burden on him, he served in France during a busy time during the war when it was very dangerous. This is a photo that was taken for the cavalry school when they graduated. This was at Fort Riley in Kansas. It says Enlisted Communications Course, class number 94, August 7th to 1944 to October 28th, 1994. This handsome gentleman right here is our grandfather. He would go on to serve as a communications specialist. Here's one of his horses that he rode regularly. This is one of the photos he would send home to my grandmother. He wrote her regularly. It's actually when they started writing, his mother and her mother both knew each other, and they said, hey, why don't we connect them together? And so they did. They wrote regularly during the war, and he would send her all different types of photos. Papa, as we called him, was very close with his father. And this is one of the photos that he had sent to his father, saying, "To Dad, from your son." He was named after his father, Bert Smith Jr. It was what he went by, and his father, of course, Sr. Papa was the eldest of several children. This is his father in the middle of this photo, and of course Papa's over here, and then his brother is on the other side, his brother Archie. He always remained very close with his father and was even there the day of his death. Papa did not like to talk about World War II. There were very few things that he said. He came out of World War II with a stutter. His nerves were horrible. He did share with me one time that during the war, he was looking at his canteen one day and noticed there was a bullet lodged in it. His canteen had saved his life, and he didn't even know it until later. He also spoke of a story that made him cry about a wartime when everybody was shooting, and there was a German soldier, and he was huge and he wouldn't go down, and they didn't have any choice because it was him or them. And as he went down, he just keeps screaming and crying for his mother. This brought my grandfather to tears every time he said it. When the war ended, he came home, but it would always be within his soul. This is a picture of him, my grandfather, Bertie Smith, and my grandmother when she was younger, Mildred Millie Smith. This is around the time that they got married. He was always a fun-loving man who had many friends. He would joke around and play around with his friends. He liked to pull sneak attacks to scare somebody. He would remain married to my grandmother for all of his days. They would adopt 2 children. Though World War II was in the rearview mirror, somewhere it always lied within him, silently. This photo was taken a couple of years before his death. And this is what he would look like when he died. He was, is, and always will be one of the most important people in our lives. We miss him greatly. And though he didn't like to talk about the war, he always kept his photos and a few of his mementos, like his dog tags, and he has spurs that were from the Calvary. Those who serve are brave. It takes a lot to walk through the valley that holds the shadow of death upon you, praying that you'll make it out. And for those who finally do make it out, it forever casts a shadow upon them. I personally thank each and every one of you for walking through that shadow to protect everyone else. I honor all the veterans today and every day. Happy Veterans Day.